Welcome to episode 5, season 2 of the 3 at the Back podcast. I'm your host, Darren Butler, once again joined by Scott and Paul. Today is Premier League kickoff day, so happy opening season to everyone, one and all. It's actually not been a long time coming, has it? Seeing as the last season only ended kind of mid-August.
4 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So we've not obviously we had that break in the middle of last season, but yeah, it's nice that the football's rolled on. It's quite nice. It's actually starting.
I hate the close season. I'm like a lost sheep just wandering around the streets,
looking at other sports.
Yeah. Get the cricket. It's like
brilliant. I suppose one benefit, obviously, of what has happened is we now got back-to-back international tournaments as well. So this season's going to close, going to go into the Euros. Next season's going to close, going to go into the World Cup. So
happy days.
3 straight years of no close season.
Something positive come out.
Yeah. Right. So today's chat is FPL, Fantasy Premier League. We're all avid players, play it every year. We've got leagues going. We normally put a little bit of money in the pot for it.
£200 in the kitty this year.
£200.
£20.
I'm taking it home.
You
just give me the 200 now.
Not well known for finishing high up the leagues, though, Paolo.
Oh mate, I'm Mr. Arsenal, just consistent. I like to stay in the top 4.
Yeah.
If I'm consistently in the top 4, I'm doing my business, and then I'll just prepare for the next season.
Yeah.
This season's the one, I think, where I push for the title.
Fair enough.
I've been seeing your team, it isn't.
Don't count your chickens.
So we will chat just about kind of who we've selected, price points, reasons why we've picked them. People that we considered, are there better options out there? Seeing the lineups for Gameweek 1, we're about 45 minutes away from kickoff for the Arsenal-Fulham game. I'm feeling pretty sad about my team selection, boys.
My team's done already.
I did a lot of research. I looked at the types of players that we're going to get in. I went for value for Gameweek 1, knowing that obviously no Man United, no Man City players. Tried to save some money.
Made it really tricky, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
I think the fact that Man United, Man City made it hard. It made it harder. The fact that they weren't playing.
You had to make a plan
because you to maximise your points. You can't have to plan around them.
Or bench them and
you bench them and then hope that they're going to come in for the rest of the season and use your value there. I think that's where the big risk is, and obviously the best players for those teams are going to be high value anyway. So it feels
so
like
playing low rated players from week 1.
Yeah, it felt like not worth the risk, especially when you could pick players that are going to play this week that are high value and then swap them out if you need to for Man United players or Man City players further down the line.
Yeah. So I've gone the opposite of that. I've gone low value players and banked the money. So I've got £6 million still left in the bank. I've only spent 94. I've looked at £4 million goalkeepers, £4.5 million goalkeepers. Aside from Trent, I think my back line is like £4.5–5 million players. Across the midfield, similar as well.
That's the usual tactic, isn't it? Yeah, pick one premium defender and then go cheap the rest. And put your money all in the attack.
Yeah, I think what the end point for me is, because I've already got Aubameyang and Salah in my Gameweek 1 squads. They're obviously dead certs. Triple captained Aubameyang against Fulham today. Get it in there early.
It's risky. It's risky to do it week 1, I think.
It is, but I made the mistake of not doing it week 1 last season with Raheem Sterling. And he scored a hat-trick on the first day, and it was the equivalent of
there's
9 goals.
There's no form to call on. I mean,
yeah, you've got nothing.
It's only pre-season, which means nothing.
We don't know how Fulham are going to set up today.
Yeah, Fulham might be real hard to crack.
They might make it a real test.
Yeah. Very true. I'm just looking at it.
Last game we played, and we did beat them 5-1. So
I'm just looking at it from a perspective of newly promoted side.
I think so, from memory.
Should have that out of 5. You should have. Yeah.
At least one.
Newly promoted side. They didn't come up as champions or automatic. They came through the playoffs. So by far not the best of the 3 teams necessarily. that have come up. They haven't really been that strong in the transfer market. They've still largely got the same squad as what they did last season, apart from maybe one or two additions. And then I just look at Arsenal winning the FA Cup, Community Shield in recent weeks. It's a winning habit. Aubameyang was central to that, and being a midfielder, reclassified as a midfielder this year, which I know you are absolutely livid about.
Doesn't make any sense.
Left winger.
I think most of the season, if Lacazette's out, Aubameyang plays down the middle, doesn't he? Out and out centre forward. So
yeah, but you got, like I say, you got to look at the positives. He'll get you extra points for clean sheets.
But what it does is
goals.
It stacks your midfielder when you're picking a team.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
So you've got to make the toss up in between De Bruyne and Aubameyang. Whereas in seasons gone by, you could have had both.
Or do you? Or do you?
Okay. So, what do you think is the best way to do? Do you think it's the best way to go through through our positions, or
we just do.
Chat who we've picked and why we've picked them between ourselves.
We'll go through that.
So I'll just start out. I went for a strategy. I'm going to attack game week one.
I guess outline our strategies and then name the first set of positions.
So my strategy was that I'm going to just target all the newly promoted sides. Game week 1, and then I'm going to wildcard probably game week 3, 4.
Okay.
So I've gone heavy against Fulham today, heavy against West Brom, not so much against Leeds, because Leeds will be all right, even though Liverpool playing them today. I think they'll be okay, but I have targeted teams like Brighton on the back of our predictions 1 to 20. Premier League predictions. Well, I put Brighton to get relegated. I'll attack them hard with Chelsea.
Yeah. It's a fair strategy. So
tough game for Brighton. It is a tough game for Brighton.
Oh, very hard.
Baptism of fire when you look at the Chelsea transfer window. You're going to have the likes of Ziyech, Havertz, Werner.
My only question, I guess, my only thoughts on Chelsea this week specifically, after seeing the potential team, is that they've got a lot of injuries to all the new boys. So Chilwell's out, Ziyech is out, Pulisic is out. So the new boys that will play will likely be Havertz and Werner, which obviously are the two main guys. So how they click will define
two German lads from the German league. Not going to be a problem.
Not forgetting, of course, they're still going to have Mount in there, coming off the back of a strong season last year.
Hudson-Odoi's tipped to start today.
It looks likely, doesn't it? Bearing in mind the injuries that they have got.
Because I've not been overly impressed with what I've seen. But
well, I think he was absolutely flying until his injury, though, wasn't he? You know, he was not more than 18 months ago, so January 2019, subject to a £40 million bid from Bayern Munich. He was absolutely flying up until that injury.
I'm just not quite sure he's got the end product. I think a lot of these players who are very skillful with the ball at their feet and got the pace to burn, they rely on it too heavily. And we know that end pass is the main thing in the game, and if he can't do that, then what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, you suffered 12 years of Theo Walcott, so you know all about that final ball.
I'm an expert.
They're still digging out his crosses out of the Thames, isn't it?
I'm 100% an expert. So yeah, if anyone knows, if anyone's felt the pain, it's me.
Right, let's crack on with this. Time is running.
Yeah.
So I've gone. I don't know how you pronounce it. The Leeds keeper, Messia.
Oh, okay, yeah, the
French.
French dude. Yeah.
Is he their number one?
He's
Again,
number one.
I don't know much about.
Yeah, I've done a bit of research on the Leeds. Kept 8 clean sheets in the last 11 games last season.
Okay.
He's definitely the number one. Playing Liverpool today, so he's going to be busy.
Oh, I'd say.
So you're thinking extra points for saves?
I think Leeds will be solid. I think out of all the teams,
I don't think they're going to get smashed.
Leeds are going to be solid.
I would expect them to lose today, but I don't expect them to get absolutely whitewashed.
Yeah. So when I restructure my
famous
team,
last words.
I'm gonna put Leeds double up in defence because I think for value they're going to be pretty
okay,
strong.
That's an interesting strategy.
So I've gone Trent. I think everyone's gone Trent.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
I've gone John Egan.
That's interesting.
Okay.
United will be still solid.
You think they'll still be solid defensively and just maybe not so good?
Despite the fact when we did our predictions, we had Sheffield United to fall out of that kind of top 10 spot.
But the problem is they can't
in
score.
that middle of the pack, right?
Yeah, they can't score goals. I think defensively they'll still be solid enough.
Okay.
And I looked into that overlapping wing back.
How much did John Egan cost? Sorry?
He was 5.
5. Okay.
Yeah. Not bad.
So the attack that overlapping full centre half that they do, Egan is the one they try and free up. So in the tactic when they're attacking.
To get forward and across the halfway line.
apparently last season he had more chances at goal than McBurney.
Really?
Yeah. So he
Wow.
got freed up in the box.
He was quite high scoring last season.
So
was he?
potentially he could pop up with a few additional goals on top of those clean sheets. That's what I'm thinking.
Is he going to be? Is he going to be the equivalent of Lundstrom this year? He's going to be like that goal scoring defender.
No, the next player I've got is going to be this season's Lundstrom,
Okay,
and that's going to be Maitland-Niles.
interesting.
Down as a
yeah.
defender, he's playing as a wing back. He's looked pretty good pre-season. The back end of last season, I think he's going to be goal involvements for Arsenal. He's down as a defender. He is a defender by
Trade, I suppose.
By
Yeah,
default
yeah.
at the moment, yeah.
he's playing as wing back. I think he'll play there most of the season. He was 5 mil. I think.
I think
value.
if we play 5 at the back, if we continue to play 5 at the back, I think clearly Arteta prefers Tierney over the other centre half, playing that left-sided centre half at the moment.
So what I think Maitland-Niles still keeps that left midfield berth, even if Tierney's playing at left back.
No, because we still play better on the right side, so it's definitely wing backs, if you like. And I think if they decide, I think I'm not sure who our left-footed centre backs are. I think Pablo Mari might be left-footed. But whoever they decide, if they decide that one of those centre halves will go into that left-sided centre back position eventually, then I think Tierney will become the main left back, and then Maitland-Niles will be, I guess, back up to right back along with Cedric, and then it's probably the backup left back. So again, I'm not sure if Kolasinac will be here.
We'll see when he
by
gets
the
2
end of the
assists
transfer
today.
window.
Puts 2 on the
To be
plate
honest-
for Aubameyang.
To be honest, I don't think that's a bad shout. How much again is he? 4.5, 4 million?
It
5.
was 5.
5. So yeah.
I think it's good value.
I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's a bad choice.
Is that $500,000 too much for someone that hasn't had a lot of game time over the previous seasons?
That would be my only thoughts. But like you say, if he plays there regularly to start with, then he will contribute.
Don't forget my tactic today is aiming today.
Yeah,
I knew
that's
he was
true.
I knew he was going to play today. I
and
knew he
then
was going to play wing
wild
back
card
and
if he
be
doesn't.
pushed
Wild
well
card
forward.
if he gets pushed up.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Fair enough. Okay, and your midfield, Scotty?
So, let down already. So we've seen the team lineups for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Agonise. There's one position I agonised for hours, weeks, way too long.
Okay.
Was a £108 million midfielder, just as a price point for a holder, maybe for Greenwood coming in.
Okay. A make weight.
I make weight. I went for Pepe, based on they're playing Fulham, and he's on the bench
Yeah.
today. Okay.
He might come on and contribute.
He might
Scott.
come on
He
and
might be the
contribute
saviour.
when Arsenal are already 4-0 up and no one cares
And
anymore.
Or it could just as easily be 0-0 with
Yeah,
with
Pepe-
10 minutes to play.
Pepe comes on and scores a penalty.
Let's hope. I've gone Aubameyang. I think most people have gone Aubameyang.
Yeah,
I've captained him as well.
I've gone triple captain on Aubameyang today.
Wow.
Yeah, he's my captain as
Yeah.
well.
I've gone Havertz. Did a bit of research on Chelsea last few days as well, and he's definitely going to start.
Yeah.
Definitely going to start.
Yeah, I've done the same.
Lampard has been well impressed with what he's seen, so he's in.
The boys' class.
Yep, absolute class. And then I've gone for a bit of a punt, but a player that I really think this season's going to be a shining light in a crap team, and that's Jared Bowen.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I think he's an assist machine.
He'll
It's
get the
just
minutes, won't he? Because he'll play out wide, right?
He plays on the right of the 3 up top, so it depends who West Ham decide to go up top.
He played up front for
Yeah.
Hull, didn't he?
So you would think maybe Bowen left, Haller in the middle, and Antonio out on the right.
Possibly. I mean, Bowen was the best player in the Championship by a mile.
Yes, definitely.
but
And he improved that West Ham squad when he
Yeah,
came in as well.
He's all energy, great left foot,
Yeah.
scores as well.
Yeah.
He was 6.5 mil. To me, he was underpriced at that, purely because he plays for West Ham.
Yeah.
And they're going to struggle.
It's a shame they're going to go down as 20th, but you know.
Yeah, so that was my midfield's engine, and then up front I've just gone crazy sexy, right?
Crazy sexy.
Crazy sexy.
Go on.
I've gone Timo.
Yeah.
My team name is Finding Timo.
Hey.
I found him. He's going to be banging the goals in. Right?
Yeah.
30 this season, you
30
reckon?
goals. I've gone Jamie V
Yep.
to partner him.
Yeah.
Again, targeting West Brom. Vardy's not a long-term plan for me, but they're playing West Brom.
Again, it's this money that you can switch around, right?
Exactly. You can bring in a Martial for $1 million
Was he
less.
10 million?
Yeah. And then I've gone Batman.
Hey.
signed for Palace. He's going to get minutes because we have no other strikers.
Yeah.
He scored 16-13 when he was on loan last time.
I did consider him.
He's there all season. He's good for 15 goals this year.
I think if he stays fit and he plays 38 games, I think 15 goals, 15, 16 goals is good
I think
for.
if you keep Wilf to supply the bullets,
Yeah,
then
I mean Darren's team's gone that.
I think Batshuayi will be.
I've gone that way. I've very much gone that way.
How much was Batshuayi? 6.5.
6.
As soon as that Batshuayi transfer was announced,
as soon as I heard it was going to happen, I was like, add him in.
I had him in, and I immediately put Zaha in as well.
Well, again, it's good to know. It's good to know for players that I've put in really to swap out.
Too late after Gameweek 1, probably.
So
obviously this week I'm fine. This
Paolo.
I'll take my decisions on this.
take us for your team, mate.
So I went through
Yeah.
goalkeepers. I decided not to spend too much money on. I thought there was, again, the premium goalkeepers. I didn't see the value in it. I thought I could spend it elsewhere.
The thing is as well with like the Allisons and the Edisons of the world, what are they 6.5, 6 million? It's a lot of money to spend on a player that ultimately the real absolute maximum they're going to score you per game is like 6 points.
Yeah.
Edison, 16 clean sheets last year. I think you could probably find a lot more value across maybe 3 or 4 defenders getting like 10, 12 clean sheets.
What I've noticed is a lot of the top scoring goalkeepers in fantasy are the ones that play at the lower league teams. They make more saves.
Yeah, make more saves. So Fabianski's and the likes. Yeah, absolutely.
So I've gone for McCarthy at Southampton because I think they'll do well this year, and I think he'll still have plenty of saves to make to make sure that happens.
So why has he been valued at 4.5? Because I find that a bit surprising.
I think it's like what you said.
I guess it was probably his historical.
Who they play for?
Yeah.
His historical points in fantasy football.
I guess he hasn't been a regular. He
hasn't been a regular till last season.
Yeah.
So he's coming now.
But Matt Ryan's always been Brighton's number 1. He's also priced at 4.5.
Yeah, strange.
I just think it's.
I assume it's the team they play for, and
clean sheets are a commodity, right?
Yeah.
Brighton are solid at the back, aren't they?
Yeah, clean sheets are the commodity.
Another worth considering. If McCarthy doesn't do it, then Matt Ryan would go in straight away, no problem.
The thing is, I think what you've looked at like the saves per game. So if they make like more than, is it like 4 saves, they get a bonus point and things like that.
Yeah,
so
I think it's everyone as well. So if they have an extremely busy day, like if they're playing at Liverpool, then they could get, back in the day when Ben Foster was Watford goalkeeper, he used to rack them up, didn't he?
Yeah, that's very true. So you've looked at it as a points per save, whereas FPL traditionally they value it on number of clean sheets.
Of course,
that's why the Allisons and the Edisons are the 6.5 million.
It's the most of the points.
But you also, if you pick a Man City keeper, you're also reducing your outfield options for those teams.
100%, yeah.
So then I've gone for Nyland as a sub. Just again, it's just a paperweight, just to sit there. Alexander-Arnold, obviously, is going to get the assist for days
the whole
this year.
Yeah, everyone's got him in. Yeah.
A Wolves defender. I thought I tossed up. If you compare their defensive record last season to the top 4,
solid.
They're on par.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I still think they'll keep clean sheets.
So do you think the loss of Johnny and Doherty make a difference?
I don't think so.
It's just those back 3, isn't it?
By the way,
they were very offensive, weren't they? Johnny and Bolly
I've gone for Cody.
Doherty, sorry.
I've gone for Cody as my centre back.
So you've gone Cody strictly on defensive because he offers you no attacking points whatsoever.
Strictly on.
He never goes up for corners.
Strictly on for clean sheets.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Again, Bolly doesn't score enough.
Yeah.
To
does
put
go
him
up.
in.
He is a threat.
He does go up, but he doesn't score enough to worth putting him in over that. And then defence, I've saved my money here really for my attackers. So I've gone for Mitchell. Again, I'll probably swap him for Ferguson when Ferguson comes back.
Mitchell starting,
I haven't this week.
Okay.
I haven't, mainly because I think Southampton will.
Because Mitchell will start obviously until PVA gets fit, but he's a few weeks off yet.
It'll probably come in, to be fair, because some of my defenders are probably not playing today.
Yeah.
So I've gone for Saliba and Justin. So
we've seen the Arsenal lineup, so Saliba's
not playing. So I think Mitchell's my first sub from memory.
That's not too bad. Yeah.
And then attack in midfield, I've gone for the 2 big ones, Aubameyang and Mane.
Okay.
Mane, I've gone for the pure fact that Alexander-Arnold's on the other side, hopefully putting the balls in for the tap into the back post. I've gone for Havertz, like you.
It's funny that I looked at the stats for Liverpool, and I think Darren sent out
the assists.
Robertson
ratio.
to Salah was the one Liverpool one that stood out. There wasn't a Trent to anybody that stood. He didn't hit anyone consistently. He hit everybody.
Like
Yeah.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, Robertson to Salah was the one that stood out.
Right.
I think
That's
6
right.
times I think last season.
Yeah, 6 times last season. Yeah, the most prolific, proficient partnership. I don't know.
Yeah, good English.
I've had
English
one.
not
I've
his
had one.
first
I've had
language.
one third of a Bournemouth, and I can't even talk English.
It's the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the most goals created as a partnership was Traore to Jimenez. Seven goals there.
So yeah, Havertz behind Werner. I think there'll be bullets. I've got both of them, so I think there's guaranteed goals. And then the last two, even though they're the cheapest, 4.5, I've got two 4.5 midfielders. I still think they'll contribute. So I've got for Bazuma from Brighton.
Okay.
I think he. Well,
Gonna get
again,
smashed
I'm
up by
thinking of
Chelsea
minutes.
today.
I'm thinking of minutes.
So he's going to get 2 points today, and he get booked.
He's not in my starting lineups today. Don't get me wrong. But I think overall season, if I again, it's 4.5. There's no cheaper midfielders.
No.
So
True.
I still think he'll play every game.
They're just subs,
So
aren't they?
again,
Come on, get you
minutes.
2 points.
I think for 4.5, for someone that is, again, stays fit, almost guarantees you, 70, 80 points this year,
Yeah.
providing he doesn't get booked every game.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, that's a fair shout.
And then I've gone for Smallbone from Southampton. Again, I think Southampton do well. I think he got into the team there towards the end of the
He did,
season.
yeah, he did.
I'm not sure if it's guaranteed he'll play this season, as
No.
much football this season, but
Armstrong's injured, so he might.
I've gone for him as
might come in.
my my wild card midfielder,
Yeah.
and then I've gone for Werner, guaranteed goals.
Yeah.
Ings, I still think will again, if he doesn't perform, then Southampton won't get where they are.
So he's playing Palace today.
so
who
they
were
need him.
absolutely decimated at the back. So
Well, that's what
him and Adams are going to run right today.
Be
not
interesting.
silly. And then I've gone against my Premier League prediction, but I've gone for Wilson again for the value at
Okay.
6.5. But I think Batshuayi is probably a good shout if Wilson doesn't get the goals that I'm hoping.
So that was a great chat there with Paul and Scott, my two co-hosts, about their FPL Gameweek 1 squads and the reasons behind why they chose who they chose. Unfortunately, I didn't get to explain who I chose and my reasonings. We were interrupted during recording. The game between Arsenal and Fulham was about to kick off, and we had to go back to our table or risk losing it, such is the times that we are in at the moment. So I'll just record this separately. I'll take you through my Game Week 1 squad as the other two did. I'll explain my reasons for it. And now that Game Week 1 is settled and in the bag, I can also review all three squads as well and just give you a good indication of kind of how we got on and if our predictions from Saturday morning actually came to fruition. So much like Paul, I've got Alex McCarthy in goal. I've also gone with Button from West Bromwich Albion, transferred over from Brighton. I feel like that transfer was made because he was looking for first team football, moved to another team that is in a similar sort of position to Brighton in terms of maybe fighting relegation most years until they're established, maybe even get relegated this year. Why would he make that move and not expect first team football? So that was kind of the reason for that. He was still cheap, it was still the same value as what he would have been at Brighton as a second choice goalkeeper, but I think possibly he's going to be getting some first team minutes this year. So my defence my defensive five, should I say, obviously I've gone with Trent Alexander-Arnold, as I'm sure 99% of FPL players have gone for. His assists, obviously the key part behind that. If I was just looking for clean sheets, then I probably would have gone for someone like Joe Gomez, plays in that same back line and offers the clean sheet aspect. But obviously with Trent, you know that you're going to be getting assists and the offensive points as well. He's got the opportunity to be a goal scorer as well from free kicks and other set pieces, dead balls. There's a £2 million difference between Joe Gomez and Trent, and for me the assists and the potential for goals is definitely worth the extra 2 million. I've also gone with Tyreek Mitchell from Crystal Palace as a left back. I think he's going to be getting a lot of game time whilst Patrick Van Aanholt is out injured. He looks really, really good. A good offensive attacking option, very similar to Van Aanholt in that way. He's going to be getting quite a few assists now that Crystal Palace have bolstered that attacking line with the Batshuayi and Eze signings. And as well, Zaha looks really, really sharp again. He's looking like he's scoring goals, getting assists as well through pre-season. So I think Mitchell is going to be a key part of bringing the ball forward out of the back from Crystal Palace, and that's the reason why I've got him in there. Connor Cody from Wolves. Yeah, he's not the most offensive defending player in that Wolves side, but I do think for the value that he is in the game at £5 million, he's going to get clean sheets in that Wolves side. Obviously playing in front of Rui Patricio. He's got a very good, solid defence around him as well. But he's also got that ability to just throw in a long ball out from centre-back. We saw it a few times throughout last year. The ball straight down the middle for Jimenez to pick up on. So he has got a couple of assists in him as well. But mostly I've picked him for clean sheets. I think he's probably going to be good for potentially 10 or 11 clean sheets this year. So you're talking about a good solid 60, 66 points. Just off the back of that. Plus he's a starter. He's going to get 90 minutes more or less every game, barring injury. And without taking cards into account, that's worth another 70 points. So you're looking for £5 million, picking up 120, 130 points throughout the season. Also, I've gone for Ruben Vinagre from Wolves as well. The sale of Doherty and the lack of depth on the left-hand side for Wolves will mean that Vinagre will get a lot of game time this year. £4.5 million. Again, I think he's a good wing-back option in a very strong Wolves side. He's going to get forward. He's going to get those assists and get the ball played in midfield as well. So you're looking at clean sheets, quite a few assists. Not too sure about his goal scoring potential at the moment. I'll have to see him play a bit more throughout the season. Then I've gone with, as my fifth choice defender, I've gone with William Saliba. Again, 4.5 million. Looks like he could get quite a bit of game time under Mikel Arteta this season. I think if he wasn't going to get that game time, he would have gone out on loan again. 19 years of age. He could have easily gone to a Fulham, a West Brom, an Aston Villa, get that Premier League experience and confident that he was going to get the game time at those types of clubs as well. The fact that he hasn't gone out on loan yet, bearing in mind obviously the transfer window doesn't close until October, shows or tells me that Arteta is definitely got him in mind for some game time this year. Yes, he's probably not going to start most weeks, but for a bench defender and for someone that you're going to save money on, you don't have to go out and spend £5.5-6 million on him. I think it's a good choice, good solid choice, and if he gets minutes and he gets clean sheets, then all the better for it. So we move on to the midfield now. It's been quite contentious this year. Some of the reclassifications, like Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, particularly Patrick Aubameyang playing in midfield. Yes, technically he is a left winger, but let's be honest, he's going to be playing centre forward most weeks for Arsenal. But yeah, I just don't see why that reclassification has happened. However, FPL players are going to benefit from it massively. You're looking at picking up a midfielder now for £12 million, who's potentially going to score 20, 22, potentially even 25 goals with the improvements that Arsenal have made in that forward line. So yeah, he's gone straight into my midfield. £12 million. Yes, it's expensive, but as I just explained, I've saved quite a lot of money in my defence, so I've got money in the bank to spend on these players. He's going to go alongside Salah as well. Again, another expensive midfielder, £12 million. But we know what he's capable of. He's another player that's going to get 20, 21, 22 goals from midfield. Those two players definitely have to be first choices, I imagine, for a lot of FPL players. So the differential will come in the captain choices. The rest of the midfield, I've gone fairly cheap. I've banked a lot of money, obviously knowing that Manchester United and Manchester City players are not available until Gameweek 2. So I've got Alan Saint-Maximin from Newcastle and Thomas Souček from West Ham. Now, yes, I know he's a defensive midfielder, but when he was on loan at the back end of last season, he scored quite a few goals, chipped in with quite a few assists. At the price it is, £5 million for a midfielder that's potentially going to play every game, get a few goals and get a few assists here and there. It's good value for that at least, and allows me to then spend a bit more money on those Man United and Man City players when they become available. I've also gone with Wilfried Zaha. as I said previously, looks great in pre-season, looked really strong post-lockdown. And as we discussed pre-show with Scott, the fact that he didn't get his move last summer, and he kind of maybe just down tools a little bit, or certainly that's the feeling amongst the Crystal Palace fans. That's going to come back around. Now he's got to show what he's all about all over again. He's all about those assists, he's all about those goals, he's all about running at defenders, taking players on, making those spaces for other people, and he's going to have to play at his best if, come January, come the summer, he wants to move on from Crystal Palace, but he's got to prove that he's still capable of that level of play. Now, the St Maximin and Zaha picks also predicate on Callum Wilson transferring to Newcastle and Batshuayi going on loan to Crystal Palace as well. Now that they've got proven goal scorers in that squad, I'm happy that St Maximin and Zaha are going to be picking up a lot more assists as well. The problem with St Maximin last season is what he was always having to do it all himself. He was having to create the opportunities, score the goals, and he was putting those balls in for the likes of Joe Linton and Almiron and Carroll. They just weren't getting finished. I think if you look at the stats for St Maximin last season, he was as good as any other attacking midfielder in higher up the division, but just didn't have that player up front to finish. And the same for Zaha as well. Those balls into the box. He was quite direct last season, yes, but as I just said, he's going to run. He's going to make players work to get the ball off him now, and having that those players like Eze and Batshuayi to pass the final ball into, I think we'll see Zaha pick up quite a lot more assists this year. So Wilson, great value pick at $6.5 million. I think he's a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. He did it with Bournemouth. Certainly pre-injury, he looked every bit top quality striker. Got called up for England. Went off the boil a little bit with Bournemouth towards the end, as did probably the whole squad. I think $6.5 million. Proven goal scorer. I think he'll do well in that Newcastle squad that's just signed Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth as well, and Jamal Lewis as well from Norwich. Yeah, there's some real potential for balls in the box, someone like Callum Wilson to be finishing them. Potentially 15, 16, 17 goals this year. I would like him to think that he could be up there in the top 4, top 5 shout for the Golden Boot. Yeah, I think it's wishful thinking to believe that he could really challenge for the top spot, but certainly top 4, top 5 throughout the season. I think you'll see him floating around there. I've gone for Alexander Mitrovic from Fulham as well. I think he's going to be the focal point of that squad. I know they've got Camara as well. As I see Camara as a bit more of a target man. And I know that Mitrovic has got that physicality as well, but I just see Mitrovic as more of a natural finisher. So yeah, I see Fulham using Mitrovic as more the focal point for the attack. A bit like Morpay for Brighton last year. A lot of the play is going to go through him. He's going to be the focal point. He's going to be the one taking the shots and getting the goals. How many? Hard to say. I would like to think 10 to 12 goals this year would be a really good return. For a Fulham side that I think are going to struggle throughout the season, and I think at £6 million you save money and invest it in other areas of the squad, as you've seen with me with Aubameyang and Salah, and I've also got £6 million still in the bank, so I could swap out someone like Souček, someone like St Maximin, could bring in Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling in game week 2, so I've got that flexibility to do that. But also don't forget you've got your free hit and your wild card. As Scott explained, he's probably going to be wild card in game week 3, game week 4. So yeah, that's my squad. That's my reasoning for it. Game week 1 is in the bag now. So to review that, going back and in hindsight, yes, Aubameyang in midfield scored. I had him as triple captain. Would have liked him to have scored more, of course. And in hindsight, Salah getting a hat trick, triple captain on him would have paid dividends. But I think 80 points for my first game week. I'm really happy with that. It's a solid score. I think I'd like to aim for an average of around about 55, 60 points a week this year, with some good play and some good transfers in and out. And McCarthy in goal, predictable. Got the 2 points for the start. conceded goals, so didn't get that clean sheet. But that's fine because, more than made up with that with Mitchell in the defence, and Zaha, obviously the goal scorer, as well as obviously getting that bonus point for the clean sheet as well. Alexander-Arnold didn't have a great game against Leeds. Liverpool looked shaky at the back. Is it enough to worry about throughout the season? I think we'll give it time. I think Leeds are probably the stronger of the three sides coming up. They gave it a go at the end of the day. That's Bielsa's style. I think we've discussed in the Premier League predictions that Leeds are going to finish quite high. We look at his next round of fixtures. Chelsea again could be a game where he concedes quite a bit, and Arsenal. But from there onwards, Aston Villa, Everton, Sheffield United, West Ham. And then in game week 8, you've got Man City. I would say probably the most troublesome of that are Chelsea and certainly Man City. But that's all the way in November. So, we've got a while until we get there. So we've got plenty of time to assess whether Alexander-Arnold is the right pick for our defence. William Saliba and Vinagre didn't play the games I expected them to. Interesting because Rob Holding started for Arteta amongst rumours that he was actually going to move to Newcastle on loan. So that's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That aside, I think regardless of whether I thought they were going to play or not, I still probably would have had them in my squad and just stuck them on the bench. Connor Cody, clean sheet, as predicted. Wolves look really, really strong against Sheffield United, who we've predicted are going to finish quite a lot lower than they did last year. Bonus points as well. He looked really, really self-assured in that centre-back role, as you would expect from captain of the squad. And I expect plenty more game weeks like that throughout the season. St Maximin, didn't get the assists that I was expecting, but he did look a threat throughout. Subbed in the 70th minute, which is to be expected, I suppose, post-lockdown and not really having much of a pre-season. You're going to expect some of these key players to roll in and roll out for the first few weeks. Obviously got the bonus point for the clean sheet. Is he going to be one that I swap out for one of the Man United and Man City players for game week 2? Possibly. Thomas Souček is potential for that as well. But Zaha got me that goal that I expected him to, so 8 points for him. Souček played 90 minutes as expected. Wilson got that goal as predicted. Mitrovic, not the focal point I thought he was. He started on the bench. Not too sure the reasons behind that. Camara obviously started ahead of him. Looked awful. Played the target man role really, really well in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes and allowed Fulham a few opportunities to score and probably should have against Arsenal in those early minutes. But just a bit of a weird decision to play Camara ahead of Mitrovic when Mitrovic is a more natural finisher. So we'll see how that plays out throughout the season. I do think for £6 million, are there other options? Potentially, certainly knowing how much money I've got left in the bank, I could maybe swap Mitrovic out for someone like a Morpie, someone that's definitely going to get goals for Brighton, and then go for a Fernandes over, De Bruyne or Sterling in midfield. So that's my game week 1, 80 points. Very happy with that. Paul and Scott had fairly reasonable opening weeks as well. So Paul finished on 55 points. Again, McCarthy, Alexander-Arnold, Connor Cody. Interestingly, James Justin for Leicester, £4.5 million defender. 9 points, good start. Got an assist, got the clean sheet as well. Did get carded, but overall very good, solid performance from him. He's gone with Aubameyang in midfield and captained him as well. Didn't use his triple captainship, but you know what? It was worth the risk. Against a newly promoted side, if he could have just as easily scored a hat-trick as much as Salah did against Leeds. So he's gone with Sadio Mane. He's thinking that Alexander-Arnold and Mane, as you heard, is going to be the good partnership, although as proven in the previous season it was more likely to be Robertson, Salah. Whether or not he changes that up throughout the season, we'll keep an eye on that. Havertz, fairly quiet debut, but Timo Werner coming good for him with a 90 minutes and an assist in a 3-1 win over Brighton. Danny Ings didn't score against Palace. Looked likely, did look good. He had a few chances, but just maybe not the game for him. I think Palace played really, really tight and very compact at the back, so didn't have as many chances as perhaps he would have liked. I still think he'll be a very solid choice throughout the season, or at least you would hope so. £8.5 million. If he's not producing, then definitely a switch up front will be worthwhile. And he also went with Callum Wilson as well. So yeah, a good solid start for Paul on 55 points, and Scott finished a little bit worse off. Now, we know Scott's strategy was to attack the newly promoted sides. It didn't necessarily go down as well as he may have thought. 45 points, so we know that he's going to be using his wild card in game week 2 or game week 3 or 4, possibly may even now use it in game week 2. Who do I expect to survive from his squad? Well, he's got Messler there, played reasonably well against Liverpool, although conceding 4 goals. I do think Leeds will be the better of the newly promoted sides, and for £4.5 million, yeah, good goalkeeper to have. He's going to be kept busy at the end of the day. He's going to be making a lot of saves. He's gone Maitland-Niles in the defence. I think he'll stay. I think his explanation earlier in the show says he's actually naturally a midfielder, so to have him in defence and be picking up assists as well as clean sheets, yeah, it's a good choice there. Interestingly, obviously for Scott, Egan and Ayling both scoring 0 points just based on the number of goals they conceded doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad choices for the rest of the season. They just come up against really strong opponents. Aubameyang, captain. I think pretty much anyone that had Aubameyang in their squad had him as captain. Only the fortunate few went with Salah. He's gone with Pepe. I don't think Pepe's going to survive the game week 1 squad. I think he'll be booted out as part of the wild card, or maybe just a free transfer for game week 2. Didn't start. Arteta preferring to play Willian and Aubameyang. Jared Bowen potentially could survive the wild card round. He's probably West Ham's better player. He's that creative force who's going to be firing in the bullets for Mikel Antonio, so I would expect him to survive. And certainly Havertz, Vardy and Werner, Batshuayi will probably stay as well. So looking at that squad, I expect Scott to probably make 4 or 5 changes, but nothing. So that is our Fantasy Premier League game week squads, why we chose them, our reasoning behind them, and also a review of how we did as well. Who was in your game week 1 squad? Why did you pick them? Let us know down in the comments. And who do you think is, after reviewing game week 1, who do you think is going to be the surprise package this year? Was there anyone that really popped out? For me, it was Willian, being in that Arsenal squad, being the main creative force, obviously getting that hat-trick of assists. Yeah, I think Willian's going to be going into a lot of game week 2 squads. So for me, that was my surprise package for game week 1. Let us know down in the comments who your surprise package was. Who did you have in your squad? Who you're going to be swapping out? And who you're going to be bringing in. Please do, if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, share the videos out. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. Until next week.